motion that is occurring today, I want to go ahead and let you know there will be no action taken about the development requests in Spring Creek. That motion today will be to send this action back to the Planning Commission, so there actually won't be discussion or any other opportunity until it is ruled on again in its newest form by the Planning Commission. This City Council cannot take action on that in its current form. So we will be sending that back. We will begin today with our roll call. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Brooks.
Here.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Here.
Councilman Estes.
Here.
Councilman Cassida. Councilman May.
Here.
Councilman Goff. Vice Mayor Webb.
Here.
Councilman Moore.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We have a quorum today, and as is our tradition, we'll do that right. As is our tradition, we will begin with our pledge and our invocation today. Dr. Jay McCluskey, who is no stranger to any of us, pastor of North Cleveland Baptist, will give us our invocation. Please stand and salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor.
Let's bow together in prayer. Heavenly Father, I echo the words of Wisdom of Solomon when he humbly asked you that you would help him lead such a great people. And we ask upon behalf of these elected officials before us and those who have been appointed that you would grant to them great wisdom as you lead great people of our good city. We thank you for them, and we thank you for what they've done in the past, and we look forward to what you will guide and lead and direct in your sovereignty over. But let us remember also, wisdom isn't limited to just to these. For every single one of us in carrying out privileges and duties that comes with our citizenship, need wisdom. And again in your scripture you say, if you need wisdom, ask, and it will be granted. And so thank you in advance, Lord, for the wisdom that you would grant to each one of us as we represent the good city of Clinton, Tennessee. In your name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. All right, the next item on the agenda is item 4, the waiving of the reading of the minutes from our last regular session, which was April 28, 2025, and that does require a motion from this council.
Mayor, I move that the City Council of the City of Cleveland waive the reading of the minutes of the regular session of the City Council held on April 28, 2025, and approve them as written.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. That's a proper motion, properly seconded by Councilman May. Any comments, questions, or changes to those minutes from 28 April? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Moore.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Aye.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Item 5 is special presentations and public comments. I don't have any registered for that today. I did have a request for the Blue Line Bus Patrol. I understand there's a person. Mr. Taylor, I'm actually going to ask for those comments to be made during the motion under the agenda, since that is a regular agenda item. I think that'll make a little bit more of a cohesive presentation, but we thank you for coming. Item 6 is hearing petitions and communications. Item 6A is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by Tom Cape for consideration of an ordinance to amend Area 3 of PUD 48 located at North Lee Highway. It includes replacing single-family lots with duplex lots and 2 single-family estate lots, allowing for a 40-foot right-of-way. This passed the Planning Commission 6-0. I'll declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Barnell, we look forward to hearing your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is a request that does remove the single-family detached lots, averaging probably close to 50 foot in width, and doing some of the 2-unit townhome type development that is kind of seen throughout that development and some of his others recently. There's also a few very large estate lots at the very back, and otherwise there's a few design implementation changes just based on how the area has developed. as that development has gone on. Staff recommended approval of it, as well as the planning commission. If there's specific questions to what that looks like, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Barnell. Any questions from the council? Seeing none, we will now invite anyone who would like to speak in favor of this request. Please identify by raising your hand. Seeing none, is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this request on North Lake Highway? Also seeing none, I will declare this public hearing to be closed. Item B is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by City Fields and Tyler Price for consideration of an ordinance to abandon a section of right-of-way located at Winnetauga Avenue and Aurora Avenue. It adjoins tax map 57L. Was approved by the Planning Commission 7-0. I'll declare the public hearing to be open, and Mr. Barnell will hear your report.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As is typical with our alley abandonment and right-of-way abandonment, it typically splits halfway down the middle. In this case, the property owner on one side has authorized or agreed to the entirety of that section going to City Fields, so that they have an additional single-family lot to build on in that Blythe Oldfield neighborhood. So this alley abandonment, we have all of the documentation on file on that request, as well as the neighboring property owner's agreement to what the course of action is. And as always, we bring that here and have a public hearing to that end. But this will allow for the construction of at least 3 new single-family homes in that area. So that's continued growth there. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you, Mr. Barnell. Any questions for Mr. Barnell? Seeing none, would anyone like to speak in favor of this request for City Fields and Mr. Price? Seeing none, anyone like to speak in opposition of this request for abandonment of this alley? Also seeing none, I will declare this public hearing to be closed. Item C is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by Copper Coin Properties for consideration of a plan of service, a resolution to annex, and an ordinance to zone about 3 acres of property located at 22nd Street from FAR unincorporated county, changing it to R1 single-family residential. It was approved by the Planning Commission 7-0. I'll declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Barnell, your report, please.
Yes, sir. This is one small area that was left out of previous annexations when a lot of development was going on around it. There on 22nd Street. As Mr. Fivas mentioned earlier, we're working with the county on improvements to 22nd Street, and we'll work through those. This particular annexation request will be for R1 zoning, single-family residential units. So staff and planning commission were in agreement and recommended approval of all aspects of it.
Thank you, Mr. Barnell. Any questions for Mr. Barnell from the council? Seeing none, would anyone like to speak in favor of this request? Please indicate by raising your hand. And like sign, would anyone like to speak in opposition to this request? Please indicate by raising your hand as well. Seeing none, I will declare this public hearing to be closed. Item D is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by Epperson Allison Homes for consideration of a plan of service, a resolution to annex 3.46 acres, and an ordinance to zone about 5 acres of property located at Old Freewell Road from FAR unincorporated county, R1 single-family residential, to PUD 64. This was approved by the Planning Commission 5-0. I'll declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Barnell, your report, please.
Thank you. So this is one of those properties that was partially annexed years ago, corridor style annexation. Excuse me. And at this time, the remainder of that parcel is requested to be annexed, about 3.46 acres. All told, it'll be close to 5 acres with the 50-foot wide lots, which are fairly consistent with a lot of what we've seen lately. And there'll be, I believe, 24 total lots in there. If annexed and done as R1, going through a cluster style development, they probably have an additional few lots they could do. With the PUD, we're able to get a little bit of excess right away along Old Freewell for future improvements, as well as require the open space as provided. Both the Planning Commission and staff are in recommendation of approval of that. And happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding that specific development.
Thank you, Mr. Arnell. Any questions for Mr. Arnell from the council? Seeing none, I'll ask if anyone would like to speak in favor of this request. Please indicate by raising your hand. Seeing none, like sign if anyone would like to speak in opposition to this request. If you'll please come to the podium and state your name. For the record, please, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Timothy Colwell. I'm a resident of Mountain Point subdivision. And I think you'll hear from others here. Our concern here is that we're being pocketed in now from where we are with a lot of extra building. We've got the park going in now, Candy's Lane. We've got the huge subdivision that they just put in at the corner of Old Freewell, Old Freewell and Freewell Road there. The access on that road where this is going to be, there's no shoulders. I heard Mr. Fivas say earlier that they were going to work on 22nd Street to bring that quality of that street up to what he called city standards, I believe. I would argue that Old Freewell Road, that I believe is a city maintained road, does not meet that standard. There's no storm sewers, there's no way to, for residents from Mountain Point or Mountain Brook, for people to walk, bicycle, anything safely along that road because of the deep ditches on both sides. So I would ask that we look at the infrastructure before we approve this for another subdivision there. That's my concerns. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Yes, ma'am, if you'll please state your name for the record.
My name's Jackie Hunley. Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak. My husband and I live in District 3, near the intersection of Freewell and Old Freewell in the Kensington Park neighborhood, near the neighborhood he was speaking from. My comments today are prompted by this proposal for activity on a property located just a few yards from our fence line. But it also applies to other developments in our area. As Cleveland grows, we certainly welcome the additional housing. It's definitely needed based on anecdotal evidence, talking to family and friends, or from reading any number of Cleveland-based social media posts. With that said, I'm here to ask that the council consider refreshing the impact assessments with regard to traffic effects and emergency response resources as our district's population density increases. As a resident near some of these recent developments, I've witnessed multiple traffic near misses at several locations. The most precarious is the intersection of the I-75 southbound exit, where it intersects with Candy's Lane and Highway 60. The continually increasing number of residential and construction vehicles means that backups that used to be primarily during rush hour are now common to see at midday on a weekday. This leads to vehicles backing up on that exit 25 off-ramp when they aren't able to turn left on Highway 60 because traffic is backing up trying to turn left on Candy's Lane. I've also observed near misses on Candy's Lane in front of the building that houses the gymnastics center and physical therapy businesses, at the Freewell Road and Harrison Pike intersection, and at the parking area for the Rolling Hills Wetland Loop on Freewell Road. Excuse me. And I've personally experienced my own near misses trying to turn left out of Kensington Park onto Old Freewell Road due to the limited sightlines looking westbound and the increasing number of cars traveling eastbound, sometimes at a pretty rapid clip. The traffic situation's only going to get worse, excuse me, as we add a couple of hundred more homes across multiple developments, either proposed or already in progress, with an average of 2 cars per home, traveling to work, school, church, recreation, or errands on narrow 2-lane roads with no shoulders, sometimes steep drop-offs, on Old Freewell Road, and Candy's Lane. In addition, I've just had a toddler chasing a ball run into the street in front of me on Candy's Lane as I was driving to Publix a couple of weeks ago. Fortunately, I was focused on the road and I was able to stop quickly. However, the addition of the new Gymshark Park on Candy's Lane will lead to more children near the road and more opportunities for them to run in front of an increasing number of cars, or a worst-case scenario, in front of construction trucks who may not be able to stop fast if carrying heavy loads. Having said that, I should note that I've observed Cleveland police officers monitoring traffic on Candy's Lane more frequently. I'd like to thank the city for that effort. Every little bit helps. Excuse me. Lastly, as our district profile continues to shift from more rural to more suburban, I'd like to raise the question if there's any need for additional fire or EMS services in District 3 to maintain our current strong response times. Was the Station 5 Fire Department built with this additional housing volume in mind? Does the number of ambulances in our area need to increase, etc.? I acknowledge some of these questions may be better directed to county planners or to a subcommittee, but all of these groups must continue to work together to manage those development impacts, and we appreciate anything you can do to facilitate those conversations. Now, to be clear, I'm not necessarily here today to oppose this motion. Frankly, I don't have enough information to make an informed decision. We live in an Epperson home. I look forward to seeing what Mr. Epperson and Mr. Allison design next. But as a District 3 resident, my objective today is simply to express my concern about my own observed impacts and to ask you to continue to consider ways to mitigate those impacts. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Hunley. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am. If you could please state your name for the record.
Michelle Frederick, and I live in that same area, and I concur with the last two speakers, and I just wanted to add a few more items in. I hope you all know where this area is. It's a very small roadway, 2 lanes, 1 in each direction, ditches on the sides, no sidewalks, no curbs. Actually, and I don't believe it has enough drainage to support all the rain and all the changes that are going to be made. So there's going to need to be a lot of research and maybe a residential study done in order to, I think, to give us a fair decision on what the next move is. This is a small area within other homes barricaded up against it, and we've already have the trails at Free Will, which is north of this area. We also have some new construction, which is south on Free Will, and I think that the schools are already at capacity. I know that Candies Creek Elementary just added some classrooms due to the overcapacity, and that's probably not even including all these potentially at least 24 homes that are going to be added. And we're talking about at least 2, maybe 3 cars per home most likely. That's going to add to the traffic at that intersection. We have the fire department right there on that corner, and I think there's not enough area for them to be able to deal with the traffic from each of those sides of the new homes that are going to be made there, in addition to making it just on that same street at Old Free Will. So I just also want to say that I know that in our development there is an issue with sewer, that there is a lot in our development that if they can't build any, it's like 12 acres, they can only build 1 home because the sewage system can't handle the capacity of anything more than 1 house on that 12 acres, which makes me wonder, is there even enough room with the sewage issue? And I heard earlier today in the 1 o'clock session that there is a sewage issue. And so I'm wondering, do we even have the ability to add in more homes in this area? And then is that going to cause problems for our development? So I think that there's a lot of things that need to be reviewed, and I would request that you oppose it. And if you need more information, send it back to have a study done so that we can make some informed decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Frederick. Is there anyone else who is seeking? All right. I'll take this person to gentleman first, and then I'll...
Good afternoon. My name is Wayne Hatcher. I'm also a resident of the Kensington Park subdivision. I concur exactly with what Ms. Hunley and the others have talked about, so I don't need to reiterate that. Mine is more of a selfish reason. We moved to this area from West Virginia about July of 2022, and we picked out the perfect subdivision, quiet, our property is very secluded with trees surrounding both the back end and front. Our property is going to abut this thing right up to it, so I can foresee. My issue is that are they going to remove all the trees? Are they going to, what we don't have enough information in the plan at this point to make an informed decision on whether opposing or confirming. But trees gone. I've been in a project where you've had building going on right behind your house and having that go on for a year, maybe more, where they're pounding and heavy machinery going in. Quality of life is going to deteriorate. One of the other things that we are experiencing in our particular subdivision is we just recently got our assessments for tax reasons, and we've had like a 50% increase I don't know how putting townhomes in will impact that assessment. You know, many of us are appealing what we already have, but that's another concern. So the other, and again, we're not clear if it's going to be townhomes, which would be, you know, entail multi-story. If that's the case, then, you know, I'm looking out my patio and I'm looking up my neighbor's deck up here. Don't really want to do that. So thank you for the opportunity to speak and appreciate your service.
Thank you, Mr. Hatcher. I think I saw one hand back here. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to team up with her.
Okay.
I'm going to listen to her though. I live in the same subdivision.
I'm in Mountain Point. I'm Kathy Ray,
Kathy Ray.
and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I won't be redundant by reiterating some of the comments. As a Mountain Point subdivision homeowner and a member of the board of the homeowners there, we are concerned about the old free will access to our subdivision, what this will do with traffic, additional traffic, as has been mentioned. There are no shoulders. What we don't want to see is fast following action, where we wait till there are incidences, where there are accidents that happen because of more traffic and no place to go, and trouble that will occur as a result of that. We're all in favor of growth, but with measured and thoughtful growth. So if you would let it go back and be reconsidered, we would appreciate how this can be accommodated. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ray.
And I'm Warbrick Lowry, and I live over off of Cumberland Way, and it's over off of Free Will. And we have the same issues trying to figure out about the what's going to happen there. 100 units are coming in, so we don't know what that looks like, but we know the roads are narrow, and we'd like you guys to take that into consideration. I know Mr. Cassidy's not here, but we hope that he gets this word.
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. Mr. Allison, I think you are the last person to have your hand raised.
Thank you, Mayor Brooks. My name is Blake Allison with Epperson Allison Homes. I think I can shed some light and help out some of the concerns. So this was or is a 5-acre property, as Robert said. It's kind of a donut hole, and that some of it was in the county still through a corridor annexation. So about 2/3 of it still needed to be annexed in, and it's primed for development. There's sewer on the property. There's 6-inch water on the property. We're currently developing several subdivisions in that area and have completed several that I think some of the residents here live in as well. So currently we have around 30 lots that are 100-foot wide lots. Those homes that are being constructed right now are anywhere between the $650 and $1.4 million range. Then we had 175-foot lots over off of Old Free Will Road. We love this area of town. We live here. We actually live in these same subdivisions as the rest of the residents here as well. And those homes will be in the $450,000 range. So to try to catch the whole gambit, we would like to do these 50-foot wide lots, with this being a much smaller piece of property. There's one road going straight in. Have you guys seen the concept plan? I have copies of it here if you have not. But there's one road going in, essentially 12 lots on either side. This was at the Planning Commission already, but that way you guys can see it as well. I believe one of the residents spoke to the trees. There are several pine trees on the property. With these being 50-foot lots, they actually had a great depth to them. They're around 138 feet deep, roughly, on average. A typical residential lot is closer to 110, 120 feet deep. So that did leave us some room to maintain some tree line. Now, it depends with some of the grading and the stormwater. I believe there's an issue raised regarding some of the grading and the stormwater currently. Our plan has stormwater location in the back, so it actually complement and help out with what is currently in the area, to be able to take that stormwater, take it to a place where it can be detained for a period of time before it goes out to our creeks. A lot of people mentioned the shoulders. I live down Old Freewill Road. I drive it every single day. My father-in-law lives down Freewill. All of our subdivisions have been in that 2.5 mile radius for the most part. We do some on the north side of town as well, northeast side. There is a tight shoulder. It's not lost on me. However, we do have the ability to donate property to the city in order to maintain or grow the right-of-way down Old Freewill Road, and we have chosen to do that for Robert's ask there. That way, when I assume Old Freewill is expanded, you guys would have the property to do so. So that'd be donated at no cost from Epperson Allison Homes. Along Old Freewill, someone mentioned there's no current sidewalks. We've agreed to do a 5-foot sidewalk along Old Freewill for the entire frontage of that property, with the hopes that that would connect to the rest of the greenway infrastructure in the future. I know the city's been working diligently on that. I think that would be great. We're also on this is all on the PUD, a landscape street yard along the entire property fronting Old Freewill. So to beautify that area, currently it's a single wide trailer with some RVs in the back that are dilapidated. So going to be moving all of those, essentially just trashing those and being able to put in much nicer homes. Someone mentioned about the townhomes. I don't know what's going on. If there's going to be any townhomes, no, these are all single-family homes. So there was an option, obviously, with the PUD to do townhomes, and we are not doing any townhomes whatsoever. Our plan for this is going to be called Candy's Creek Cottages. They're not going to be enormous, nor are they going to be small. So we're still looking at some plans for there. We want to hit the largest cross-section of people available to be able to make these homes affordable. There will be a hardwood tree planted in the front of each lot, sidewalks all the way down it, a covered bus stop, covered mail stop, no vinyl whatsoever. I know we even have vinyl in Kensington Park. I'm not opposed to it, but we will be doing all hardy construction and articulating materials from brick, stone, hardwood. So I think it will be an excellent subdivision built by a local builder. Someone brought up something about 12 acres and not being able to fit one house on sewer. That's not sewer, that's actually septic. So our sewer has the capacity. Cleveland Utilities looks at this, and frankly, due to the traffic comments, yes, we're growing quite a bit. However, 24 homes is very, very small traffic count. I'd be happy to leave my card with anyone, any questions. We want to be good neighbors. I live a quarter mile down the street and be happy to help out and answer any questions. Thank you, Mayor Brooks.
All right, thank you, Ms. Johnson. Is there anyone else seeking recognition to speak at this time? All right. I will declare this public hearing to be closed. Number 7 on the agenda is the consent calendar. It's distributed. Oh, that'd be great. Vice Mayor, you're recognized for a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Councilman Casta and Councilman Goff today.
That is a proper motion by Vice Mayor Webb. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, probably seconded by Councilman Moore. To excuse both Councilmen Cassada and Goff. Any comments, questions, or concerns about that? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Moore.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Councilman May. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I got so excited about the agenda, I forgot to go back to you and ask for that earlier. A lot of correction today. I'm losing my touch. Item number 7, consent agenda, which was distributed at the 1 o'clock and discussed by City Manager Fivas. It does require a motion from this council. So moved. It's a proper motion by Councilman May, properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May. Aye. Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Moore.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Fivas, just please make sure that we have the tree trimming on the TDOT contract discussion since it was on the consent agenda?
It's already a motion.
Wonderful. Item number 8, unfinished business, of which there is none today, takes us to reports from council members. Today, we start with the distinguished Vice Mayor Ken Webb. Not extinguished, distinguished.
If I could just get an update from someone about First Street, from Broad Street back toward Inman Street. And the paving issue on it, is it on schedule or?
Say the location. There's a lot of First Street, so I want to make sure I got the right one.
Okay. The one coming up by post office, the old post office, courthouse annex, that one. Is it on a schedule or?
Yeah, we have a small piece of, we want to connect the sidewalk in down there to where the Pelican is, or down to that intersection. So we need to get that, and then the sidewalk along there has been improved as we go, and there's, I think, a couple other pieces there. And then we have the funding to do that, and then we also have funding to pave that. So probably next couple months, we will, the three things will happen. We'll do some sidewalk along there. We will repave that road. And then there's some opportunities for having some additional parking along well, depends on which side you're going, right-hand side, on the side where across from Taylor Springs Park. So that street is planned to be done, and it's funded.
Apparently the winter was very unkind.
Yeah, there's problems with that road.
That's all.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The city road that adjoins the county annex is in that the irony of life. Councilman Moore, you're next.
Yeah, Chris, you got that traffic study? Put that up. Sheila. This is the first traffic study I've been involved in. But Joe, you've heard from me about Weeks Drive. I've got some concerned residents over there. Dave, can you just tell us what we're looking at here?
Councilman, yes. Councilman Moore brought to our attention of a speeding concern on Weeks Drive, so we set up our data collection at a couple of locations. One on Weeks Drive is about 100 feet either side of Elm Drive. So we've got one on the eastbound direction, one on the westbound direction. So the eastbound direction, the speeds, the average speeds are pretty much indicative of a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. Right now it's 25. But if you go to page 2, Chris, I'll kind of hit the high points really quick. There is quite a bit of excessive speed at certain times of the day. Peak speed is 65 miles an hour on that stretch.
Well, what's the average speed, David?
The average speed, go back down. 30. Sorry, down. Your 85th percentile speed is 31. So that's taking everybody into account, and that's generally the speed in which speed limits are set are based on.
The average is good, but whenever it's bad,
That's indicative of any street you go. I mean, there's always going to be the extreme cases.
Sure.
But sure, there are those here for sure.
If you live there, it's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chief, what's your take on this?
Well, I think, again, this is what we see on a lot of streets is we kind of look at gauging how high the average speed. If you're looking at that intersection, 85% of the cars are within a speed limit that would not require enforcement as far as a citation. The biggest thing, though, for what I see is the number of cars, the volume of cars going down Weeks Drive. I think that's the bigger concern because of all the little side neighborhoods and housing complexes and things. The sheer volume of cars and people going in and out of neighborhoods is where we would have the most concern with crashes or issues like that, so.
What was that number? 18,000?
Yeah, I think it was over 18,000, 19,000 in 9 days.
Almost sounds like Free Will Road.
Yeah, so.
Down.
And it's a, you know, it's a small curvy road. There's sections of the road that's really,
Keep going.
so it says total volume right there.
Yeah, that total volume is over the course of the May the 3rd through May 11th. But, yeah, 19,000 cars in about 8 days.
Okay. Is that me?
Sure. I'm staying away from it.
I think. In the meantime, Chief, can you study that, just those peak times? Can we get a couple extra patrol out there? And then, you know, Tommy, I think we're still, are we talking about getting some forestry to clean up those creek banks, maybe? We're on Elm and Weeks, you can't see at all. If you're coming out and hitting Weeks.
There are 2 trees obscuring the sight distance.
Yeah.
Those 2 trees, we found they're actually on private property.
Okay.
So we're going through the motions of figuring that part out.
Okay. Good enough, thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Anything further, Councilman? Thank you, great information. And I would say turning left off of Weeks onto Ocoee is incredibly dangerous. I don't know how to fix that, but people jump out into traffic. It's sort of a...
Put a road, try to put Dr. Stanberry's in there.
And there we have it. All right, Councilwoman McKenzie. Thank you.
Just a reminder on the tire take back on May 31st.
31st, tire take back.
Hey, Marcia, do you want to give us an update on the event last night or last Saturday?
I have not heard one. I was going to ask Alan to share with us, but he left. So I have not heard that yet. It's not possible. Sorry.
He's keeping America beautiful somewhere. All right. Anything further? Happy Mother's Day, Marcia.
Thank you.
Councilman Estes.
A question and comment. What is the art house and where is it?
It is a room inside the old Woolen Mill.
Okay.
On the gym side.
Okay.
On this side.
Is that where lunch is?
Apparently that's where we're going to meet Thursday.
Okay.
We'll send you a map.
Thanks for asking.
Chief, you have my phone or something?
Yeah.
I got it.
It's basically...
There's a big sign that says Art House.
It's across the street from the back entrance of Station 1. That's the easiest way.
That's Valley Park. Thank you.
By Station 1.
Yeah, a couple Baptist comments today. Well, I know, as a former Baptist, I'm going to talk about them. First, I want to thank First Baptist for opening up to Walker Valley for their graduation. Publicly, I want that in the record. Really appreciate them being a good community partner. And second, Dr. McCluskey's here, and he has like a world famous VBS every summer. His VBS is world famous. And I just appreciate you doing that year after year after year at high quality. You know, you're here and you should be recognized for that, and it means a lot to the neighborhood. So, thank you, neighbors.
And it's the most patriotic congregation. I'll go ahead and say that.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's all right.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Cassada is not with us today. He's been excused. Councilman May.
Yeah, Chief, I've talked to you about the speed on 8th Street from the Monument to Arnold. And I'm still getting calls. Lady called last week that had almost got hit by a young person that driving, she said, in a small vehicle, loud mufflers, and she was pretty tore up about it. So, you think you might
Somebody on there.
from a little more
The Monument
control,
West side.
yeah, on that section.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Councilman. And Councilman Goff has also been excused today. And it would not be a meeting without me talking about mowing grass, Mr. Fivas. If we could please ask our team to focus on the Greenway entrance off of, I'm going to say Mohawk. It's behind Home Depot. It's that Greenway exit. It's very, very overgrown in some areas and some sightline situations.
Like on the greenway or just around the parking lot?
Actually, parking lot and the entrance area.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've never seen that.
And the same is the Mouse Creek Soccer Complex we talked about earlier. We drove by Sunday, the gates were closed, but the grass was very high outside the complex along Mouse Creek. Just as we continue investing, making the city as beautiful as possible. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
We have an update on the event for the hazardous waste.
Yes.
And they had an amazing turnout. Someone just texted me, so. They had 409, and the city is a sponsor for that event, along with the county and along with America the Beautiful. They had 409 cars and in a little over 4 hours. So that's a lot of cars going through there.
I think it was kind of rainy that day too.
Yeah.
That was a good turnout.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cars and it's a lot of waste. Thank you very much. That takes us to item number 10 on the agenda, which is new business. And we have quite a few ordinances to discuss. Item 10A, ordinance 2025-17, concerning a request for Thomas Gate, consideration of an ordinance to amend Area 3 of PUD 48 located at North Lee Highway. Includes replacing single-family lots with duplex lots and 2 single-family estate lots, allowing a 40-foot right-of-way. Approved by the Planning Commission 6-0 and does require a motion from this council today.
So moved. Second.
Proper motion by Vice Mayor Ken Webb, did I hear that correctly? And properly seconded by Councilman May. All right. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice Mayor Webb. Councilman May. Councilman Moore. Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Item B, 2025-18, concerning request by City Fields and Tyler Price for consideration of ordinance to abandon section of right-of-way located at Watauga Avenue and Aurora Avenue Southeast, approved by the Planning Commission 7-0, and does require a motion today.
No sense in fixing it if they're not.
Second.
Proper motion by Councilman Moore, properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Moore. Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman May.
Aye.
Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item C, which is resolution 2025-34, concerning a request by Copper Coin Properties, LLC, for consideration of a plan of service to annex 3 acres of property located at 22nd Street Northwest, approved by the Planning Commission 7-0, and it does require a motion today from the council.
So moved.
Proper motion by Councilman Estes. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Vice Mayor Ken Webb. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Moore.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman May.
Aye.
Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. It takes us to item D, which is 2025-35, concerning a request from Copper Coin Properties for consideration of a resolution to annex 3 acres of property located at 22nd Street, approved by the Planning Commission 7-0. Is there a motion today? Proper motion by Councilman May. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May. Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Moore.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. It takes us to item E as in Edward, which is zoning ordinance 2025-19, concerning a request by Copper Coin Properties for consideration of ordinance to zone 3 acres of property at 22nd Street from FAR unincorporated county, changing to R1 single family residential, approved by the Planning Commission 7-0, and does require a motion today from the council. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Proper motion by Councilman Moore. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman May. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Moore. Councilman May. Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item F, which is Resolution 2025-36. It's concerning a request by Epperson Allison Homes for consideration of a plan of service to annex 3.46 acres of property located at Old Freewell Road, tax map 33. This was approved by the Planning Commission 5-0, 2 recused, 2 absent, and does require a motion today from this council.
So moved. Second.
Proper motion by Councilman Moore, properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Is there any additional comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Moore.
Aye.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman May. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Resolution 2025-37, concerning a request by Epperson Allison Homes for consideration of a resolution to annex 3.46 acres of property located at Old Freewell Road, tax map 33, was approved by the Planning Commission 5-0, 2 recused, 2 absent. This does require a motion for the resolution to annex. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Proper motion by Vice Mayor Ken Webb, properly seconded by Councilman Leanne Moore. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Councilman May. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. It takes us to item H, zoning ordinance 2025-20, concerning a request by Epperson Allison Homes for consideration of the ordinance to zone 5 acres, more or less, of property located at Old Freewell Road from FAR unincorporated county to R1 single-family residential to PUD 64 planned unit development. It was approved by the Planning Commission 5-0, 2 recused, 2 absent, and does require a motion from this council today. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Proper motion by Councilman May, properly seconded by Councilman Estes.
I have a comment. Ms. Hunley, I see you're still here, Ms. Frederick. A couple people have left, Ms. Ray. We already voted on the plan of service. That was the first motion on this piece, but maybe half of what was brought up here at the podium was addressed by city staff in the plan of service. 9 school-aged children, 4.5 would go to Candy's Creek, would be at the elementary level. Ingress, egress, fire coverage, all of that was in the city plan of service, and we can get, I've got it up here, and you can ask the city for that kind of documentation if you want. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May. Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Moore.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item I. It is a motion to send back to the Planning Commission for further review a request by Springbrook Community Developers for consideration of an ordinance to amend PUD 4 located at 25th Street to include multifamily as permitted use in the town center and business park area, to allow 4-story structures and to modify parking requirements. This is a motion to send back to the Planning Commission and does require a motion today from the council. It's a proper motion by Councilwoman McKenzie, properly seconded by Councilman May. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman May. Vice Mayor Webb. Councilman Moore. Councilman Estes. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Item J is a motion to approve the bus patrol agreement stop arm violation system. This was discussed at our 1 o'clock planning session, and testimony and examples given by Mr. Hal Taylor. This does require a motion today from the council. I think that would be the next one in line. Am I correct, our speaker, Hal, is for the next, or is it for this one?
Is it for the bus patrol? It's for the bus patrol.
It's for the bus patrol.
This is the young lady that was stuck in the hand. Yeah, she got stuck in.
Sorry, guys.
I apologize, Mr. Taylor, if you and your guest, I had it written down for the next motion, item K, and it is item J. My apologies, so please.
Approach, state your name.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Steele. I'm a rep for Bus Patrol, and I've been working closely with Hal Taylor and his team. As you all know, that we have a pilot program running with them, and they want to move forward. We're only going to do 10 buses because I know that everyone is scared about the backlash from the community. Mr. Taylor had informed me that you guys had some questions. I know some of them were for collections. So we typically decide on the collection agency after the agreement is signed. But we normally use Penn Credit, which is up in Pennsylvania, where our headquarters is. But if you guys have a local one that you want to use, we're happy to switch it up. And then what were the other questions?
About how the citation, how the citation is done. If Bus Patrol sends a citation
Okay.
from Bus Patrol and the city.
Okay, yes. So the collection agency collects the citation if it goes through that. But if we do not have to go through a collections agency, Bus Patrol works hand in hand with local law enforcement. We issue the ticket on our behalf once we get the okay that it's a violation that they want to be sending on their behalf. And then once the collections are made from the violator, we then send the money to the school district, and then they just take the subscription fee that we agreed upon in the contract, and they give us that money back. And then local law enforcement is also reimbursed out of that pie for their time.
Mr. Webb had asked about the closest state that's presently doing it, how many buses and so forth.
Okay, so the largest one that you guys are probably going to know is Hillsborough County, that's in Tampa, Florida. They have well over 1,000 buses that we have equipped. The largest fleet that we do is actually the largest fleet in America, which is 5,000, and that's in upstate New York. And then the most local one is also Harnett County in North Carolina.
What's the population there?
It's really rural. It's a really smaller than Cleveland. But we like to say that they have more cows than roads in Harnett. But
buses?
About maybe 15 to 30.
That's a good comparison.
I'm just curious, could you give us an example where the program has been implemented, the violations were significant early on, after 1 year has passed, have they been cut in half, 25% of what they were, or what has happened in most places where you put the program in place as far as eliminating violations?
Absolutely. So one of these slides that I'm unable to share with you guys because I didn't bring my laptop, it's in my rental car, but 90% of the people who pass a school bus and get a violation and pay never are reoccurring. They never have a violation ever again. The statistics wise, I don't have that offhand, but that's the percentage that I do have for you. And of course, you know, there's always new drivers. There's always 16-year-olds that are driving. You guys probably have people passing through like me today. I just came from Knoxville flying in. So there's always it's never going to get down to zero, unfortunately. That's never going to happen. You're always going to have travelers or new people driving or snowbirds or what have you. But there is a significant decrease with having this type of enforcement. Yes. Yep. So Mr. Taylor didn't mention this, but what we like to do, we don't like to have a gotcha program because that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to change driver behavior because this is an issue clearly in Cleveland City and anywhere across the U.S. So we like to have a 30-day briefing period where our PR team as well as Cleveland City's PR team, we get together, whatever you guys want to put out into social media, it doesn't matter what you have it. We want to make it known that this is happening in Cleveland City. It's almost like you're living under a rock if you don't know that this is going on. So whatever you guys want to do PR-wise, we're happy to do it. Of course, we run it by you all, you know, it's your community. So, but we do it on our behalf and as well as help your PR team.
So they get warnings the first 30 days, just
yeah.
forgive me.
So
they get,
a warning ticket. It's not on their license, nothing. They don't have to pay it. It's just to warn them to let them know that this is going to be implementing in 30 days.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
Now, this program is strictly on the buses, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Strictly on the buses.
It's not the school zone.
No, this is strictly on the school bus.
Yep.
All right. Any other comments, questions? Thank you, Ms. Steele.
Thank you.
All right. So item J, approval of the bus patrol agreement stop arm violation system. We heard testimony from both Mr. Taylor at 1 o'clock and Ms. Steele at the 3 o'clock meeting. This does require a motion from the council today.
So second.
Proper motion by Councilman Moore, properly seconded by Vice Mayor Ken Webb. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Moore,
Yes. Aye.
Vice Mayor Webb,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie, Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Councilman May. Carries 5-0.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Item K is a motion to authorize an agreement with Blue Line Solutions to provide automated school zone enforcement. Mr. Fivas, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you very much. The representative is here today. There's a couple of contractual changes. If the council wanted to go forward, that we would probably bring back the agreement at a later meeting, the next meeting or whatever. But I think it might be helpful just to have a conversation of, is this something that you're interested in looking at and following through on? We've already had a presentation. There were some issues that have been worked out. I believe that they now have more contracts in Tennessee. Is that right? Because I think you're thinking about doing Chattanooga and Knoxville.
We just did Knoxville.
Yeah, and he'll get up here and talk. And so there's real live data on how it's working in communities that are closer to us. But I think that I think it's just really the safety issue, just like the bus cameras is this a safety issue that we want to approach or handle, and is this the way that we want to do that? So, Mr. Mayor, at this time, I would, Chief, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I mean, I just, you heard something about the bus cameras. This is a similar program. It's something we've been looking at for probably about 3 years now and been in discussions with them. And so it's not something we've taken lightly, but the goal is safety in the school zones, slowing traffic down. We also have crossing guards that are out there in those intersections every day. So it's not only for the kids, but it's also for our staff and personnel that are out there working the intersections. And the goal is just to create a culture where people slow down and watch their speeds in the school zones. And that's the most automated and simple way of enforcing it. And I know we've talked about complaints and things like that. And we deal with complaints all the time about it. But my thing is, if you're violating the law of speeding, I'll be glad to talk to whoever wants to talk about that. I mean, it's if you're speeding in the school zone, I'll be glad to take that complaint. It doesn't matter to me, but that's the whole part of it. Is it has a warning period, it has an educational period, it has a warning period, it has an implementation period, and it also has that ability for us, our officers, to review to make sure the citations are valid, such as if a school has been dismissed because of a gas leak, something like that, and it's still producing tickets, we can spoil those tickets and not issue them out. So there is a discretionary mechanism for us to review the tickets. It's 11 miles an hour over the speed limit, so it's not 2 over or 3 over. It's 11 miles an hour over for speeding. So if it's 20 mile an hour zone, 31 is going to generate a ticket. So it's not unreasonable. It's well vetted. We've looked at the system for the past 3 years. I think it's a viable option. It gives us, if you've ever tried to set a car in a school zone and try to catch speeders, it's very difficult. And the amount of speeders that you would catch is very minimal. So sometimes it doesn't have the deterrent that you want it to have to slow the traffic down and keep people safe. So that's kind of what we're looking at, a different option.
Thank you, Chief. Any other comments, Councilman Moore?
Is it citation paid for as well, or violator paid for? Just like the bus arm?
Yeah, basically we have Representative Ron Moore here, but basically, yeah, the citation is issued. The offender would pay the citation, and it's a revenue sharing between the company and the city. It is no cost to us. The company bears all the expense of setting the system up and running the system. It will be a 2-year contract. The only issue that we're having right now is just some verbiage in the contract to make sure that we're on the same page as that. But
Sounds like you're a fan, Chief.
I'm not pitching anything. It's just I'm telling you this. I don't see this is a system that if we have concern with safety in school zones, the biggest complaint that you're going to get from people is I got a ticket for speeding in a school zone, and I'll talk to them all day long about that if we want, but it's just it's a automated way with today's technology for us to slow people down and make them at least think about their speeds when they go to the school zone. Charleston Police Department currently has one in their school zone. It's just started. It's just been implemented where it started issuing citations. It went through its warning phase. So, but I just wanted everybody to understand we've looked at it for the past 3 years. It's not something we jumped into without a lot of thought and research to look at.
All right, any other comments or questions from members of the council? Mr. Fivas, do we want to give Mr. Moore the opportunity to make any statements? Mr. Moore?
Or if you got anything to add, or
we gave Ms. Steele an opportunity to talk about bus arms, so we want to give you the opportunity to talk about blue.
I'll be brief. So we do, as Chief said, we do have a contract with Knoxville, Tennessee now. And we brought on Saudi Daisy since I've been here, and they had 5 school zones, and I think you were asking about with the bus arms if the speed goes down. We mark that, we make sure that it does. Company-wide, we're down, all of our zones are about down 94%. That's company-wide. But Saudi Daisy, the first 30 days, we did the warning phase, their speeding was reduced by 87% across the school zones. So that's what we want, is to change the driving behavior. And as Chief said, I retired as a police officer. I was a traffic guy on a motorcycle. And as good as I thought I was, I could write a ticket every 7 or 8 minutes, right, with everybody going past. We use the latest technology. We use LiDAR, it's not radar. So how it works is there's a beam, there'll be 2 posts, and like in Bradley Central, let me pull this up. So I did a 5-day speed study. I'll just pull up Bradley Central. We had 48,355 cars come through there between 7:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon. Out of those 48,355, 3,123 were doing at least 11 over. Out of that, 1,334 were doing at least 21 over.
What's the time frame on that? How many days?
That's 5 days.
Okay.
That's 1 week, yes, sir. What we do is we take a different approach. We do the guy that owns our company was the first law enforcement liaison for the state of Tennessee. So he wrote out lose it, and click and ticket nationwide. That's the way we take this approach. We have PI&E, Public Information Education. We get with the police department however much they want to do. We usually try to do about 4 weeks beforehand. Then we do the 30-day warning period. But each school zone, each end of the main school zone will have photo enforced signs. All the side streets will say photo enforced. We'll have a radar feedback sign in each end of the school zone. So you'll have your school zone sign, photo enforced, your speed is, and then you still have between 300 and 600 feet to slow down after you see the last sign that says your speed is. Then we do the 30-day warning period. Charleston just came off their 30-day warning period. I don't have any data right now for that, but Saudi is close. Estill Springs, Tennessee, they had one school zone. We cut theirs down to 92% the first 30 days.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. The only question I had was, that data from Bradley, was that during school hours?
Yes, sir.
Not before or after?
No, sir. That was No, that was, you break it down, it was from 7:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon.
When you put the sign up, radar enforced or LiDAR enforced, does it go on the sign that's already there saying school zone, or is it its own?
No, we would put up a separate sign, yes, sir. It'll say photo enforcement, and then we'll have a.
See, but I get flack from my neighborhood about too many signs.
Right.
Yeah, and so I know each school is different, like Ross Yates is on Mouse Creek, which is very different than Arnold on 8th Street. It's just gonna slow down. And maybe get paid, Tommy. So I'm just saying.
We want everybody to slow
They're
down.
not signs, there's so many signs on
Right.
that.
Well, if the radar feedback sign could be put on another sign, that'll be up to the, TDOT or whoever tells us when we have to put this stuff.
City sunshine.
Just be sensitive.
Yes, sir.
You would only write tickets when the lights are placed.
You can write tickets the whole school day, okay? The way that would work is, and that's totally up to you guys. So let me pull this one back up real quick. So in the morning, your speed limit's 20 at Bradley Central, right? So during that flasher time in the morning, that 5-day flasher time, you had 4,448 cars come through there. 1,038 were doing at least 11 over. So they had to be doing 31 miles an hour. It's 23%. Now your speed limit goes up 25 miles an hour to 45 during the daytime, between the hours of 8:30 and 3:30. You had 38,000 cars come through there, and 104 were speeding. They had to be doing 56, right, before they caught it. Then in the afternoon, when it goes back to, from 3:30 to 4:30, when it goes back to 20 miles an hour, you have 5,014 cars come through there. 1,981 or 39% of speed. So your biggest problem is in the school time.
Can the contract be written, is the contract written just for school's time?
School, it can be on all day. It can be, you can have it, but it'll switch. The LiDAR will know the switch. You see what I'm saying? So if it's 20 from 7:30 to 8:30, at 8:01, it'll know that the speed limit's 45 and it would ride at 56. And then in the afternoon, it would do the same thing.
Mr. Fivers, does the city have a position on non-school zone times?
I think we talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's the two options to do it that way. The non-school times are when you're talking about when school's in session, between the times that the flashers would be on.
Right.
You still have students present, you still have students leaving, students arriving, you still have people coming in at a certain time, so you're talking about enforcement during, by state law, the TCA allows that enforcement during that time when school's in session. The only adjustments they would make is when the speed limit where the flashers are not on, but it's still talking about the enforcement when the kids are present because of the amount of traffic in and out of the schools on a regular basis during the day.
So, I stood my ground on the stoplights. Traffic accidents went down, speeding, I mean, everything got better. But the political will wasn't here for that. Doing it outside the flashing lights is a much different ask than doing it during the flashing light period.
I agree with you, but it is, but, and I'm thinking that's well, the part we talked about with our contract, making sure we're on the same page exactly what we're looking for here on enforcement. But again, it's like Mr. Bay's lady that's on 8th Street. If this is during the time that if she was walking, if she was walking, if she's walking on 8th Street and it's during school hours, less likely that people will go speed down through the area if it's enforced. But I think the concept is, if you look at our school zones and you look at our schools, we have people that are in and out, teachers that are in and out, students that are in and out, leaving to go on field trips, leaving early for doctor's appointments. people arriving early to pick up kids, and those types of things. So you're still looking at controlling and deterring people from speeding in areas where kids are present. And I think that's a big resource for us, is looking at protecting the kids and the school zones. So me personally, I don't have an issue with it, but I also understand the viewpoint on that. But
So, Mr. Fivas, I know you're saying, city look at it, bring us something back in the future.
I can explain that.
Yeah.
They have two provisions in this document they sent to Chief Gibson that require the city to indemnify them, which the city legally cannot do under Tennessee law. Those provisions have to be removed. He doesn't write the agreement. He's going to have to go back to his boss and say, these are going to have to come out if we're going to do an agreement with the city. Once his superiors say, yeah, that can be removed, I've given them the Attorney General opinion, which has said that for the last 30 years. If they're okay with removing that, then this agreement is presented, assuming y'all want to do this, is viable. It can't be signed as it is in your packet because it contains those offensive clauses.
So that's where I would pick up my comment. Right, if the city's gonna take this back and then come to us, I would really like some demarcation. This is what it looked like from 8 to 5. Here's what it looked like during the school zone hour in the morning, during the school zone hour in the afternoon.
If you look at page 169 of what they have provided that's in your packet, it gives you the zones, what the posted speed limit is, the number of lanes, and what the school zone speed is if it's posted. Right now, one's not posted due to the Highway 60 construction. So when you take that exhibit and you apply it to what Chief Gibson was telling you, basically any vehicle that's picked up by LIDAR, which is their system, that's going 11 over the school zone speed is going to get a warning or a citation. Is that fair, sir?
Yes, sir. From 8 to 5, right.
During the time the school zone is in effect, which is defined by state law.
Give me that definition. Help me.
It's basically when the lights are flashing and when children are present.
And or?
Oh, well, the lights have to be there. If the lights aren't flashing, it's not a valid school zone under the state statute. But here's the point Chief was making. Suppose the lights are on a day that school is a holiday.
Yeah, I got all that.
They always are.
That's not a legal school zone that day because there's no children present. But the mechanism would take care of it because the officer would, the word is spoil the ticket, and it wouldn't be issued.
Here's my concern, Mr. Fivas, if you're going to negotiate a contract, and just allow to my colleagues to Mr. Moore. When the lights are flashing, an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, whatever that is, I'm fine. But when I think of Highway 60, 50,000 cars going down South Lee Highway in front of Bradley in a week. Okay, I get that, from 8 to 5, that makes sense, 10,000 a day. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if I have the stomach to put out traffic cameras. I go to schools every day. I taught at Walker Valley last week. I was in Cleveland High School last week. I was go by Mayfield. You know, that's my job. I go to schools all the time, in and out. There's never a problem with safety during the day. Just to my colleagues, you know, I see this as really different during the times of flashing lights versus 8 to 5.
Mr. Moore, can the contract be amended?
The way it's currently written, it would only apply to school zones when they're in effect.
But you haven't told me when that is.
When the lights are flashing.
Or when kids are present. That's not clean.
I'll be glad to get you the definition of the school zone.
I don't care. I want a legal interpretation.
It's in the agreement. They say they're going to comply with the school zone law, which is the same statute, ironically, that was amended to allow the school arm cameras. It's the same TCA section.
How is it interpreted? Just when the flashing lights, or no?
The lights have to be flashing for it to be a school.
And only during flashing lights.
Yeah, what I was saying though, there are times where the lights are flashing when school's not in session, and that ticket would get spoiled.
So what about at 11 o'clock? Are we going to write tickets? Or
Yeah, what you're saying is you don't want speed tickets when it's not a school zone, right?
That's what I'm saying too.
I look at it, it's always a school zone, but the lights are only flashing.
I'm using it in the sense of a valid school zone ticket, which is the speed limit on
South Lee Highway, for example, at Bradley, is 45 miles an hour, except when the school zone is in effect. Okay? When the flashing lights are there during defined times, they can certainly do it that way, if that's your question. If you can limit it to those things, that's their intent. I believe that's the intent now.
Yeah, I think so.
Bill, I think it's a lot about education, and if you do like you're saying, where it's just in effect, when the lights are flashing, the drivers get accustomed to seeing the flashing lights, and after a while, they learn they're gonna get a ticket if they exceed the speed limit. Where if the lights are not flashing, I don't think it educates the drivers as well as it does when they are flashing. So I agree with you.
And Mr. Moore, it's fair to say that if the lights are flashing, the LiDAR or radar is flashing.
It's LiDAR, yes, sir. But, and here's a cool thing too, Vice Mayor. The radar feedback sign is going to be flashing 24/7. It's going to continuously tell them their speed. You're not going to get a ticket for that. That's going to warn them, hey, slow down.
But you're going to say we can have a survey to see whether traffic problems, speeding and all that, but you're not writing citations if the lights are not on.
Correct, correct. That's what I was reading you, that was, I've already done all the surveys for the traffic district. And the majority of the speeders are in the morning and the afternoon. You had 38,000 cars come through there in the middle of the day, and only 104 of them were breaking the speed limit, but they had to be doing 56 instead of 31.
I was reminded by Charleston's last week.
Reminded?
So far, nothing.
Thank God for that warning period. It was a warning period.
But, I mean, you can see that the school zone's there, the lights are flashing, photo enforced.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Moore? Thank you for coming.
So how has the you've done it in Knoxville?
We haven't done it in Knoxville, we are doing it in Knoxville.
Okay.
But Saudi Daisy, comparable close to you guys in the state of Tennessee, was, Saudi Daisy, it was 87% in the first 30 days.
I think we just covered this, I just want to make sure so when it's flashing from 7:30 to 9 o'clock or whatever the time is, we can write tickets there, but from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, can we not write tickets during that time?
You technically can, because it is, you technically should.
I mean, do we have the flexibility to be able to do that?
That's your call, yes. It's your program, yes, sir.
Right. So, but I mean, there might be reasons why you may want to, but the speed limit's different, of course.
Yeah, the speed limit here, that's,
There's still a warning flash, right, at those hours?
the radar feedback's going to be working 24/7.
It's just not going to issue it.
No, the sign that says your speed's going to be working 24/7.
We just want to hear.
You want to let me speak? Just, I would love to see the data. If it's going to be grabbing all that, let's see it. Let's give it to our police officers. Let's have all that data. I only want tickets in the morning and the afternoon when the lights are flashing.
Okay.
Right.
So
And then I'm like, phew.
Is it possible to write the agreement as Dr. Estes and like they've said, only give tickets during those things, but have flexibility to come back if the data shows that we need to increase our enforcement, then we can look at it in the future.
If that's something you guys want to do, yeah, we can put that in.
To negotiate it, that's what I'm brought back.
Yeah, you can start school time and see.
An indemnification.
One issue in the agreement is the collection agency. Do we do the collection?
We take care of all that. What happens is on the 15th of each month, you guys will get a revenue report, and then the revenue, it's a civil violation. It's a $50 fine. You guys get 25. We get 25. You'll never be charged anything from Blue Line.
One thing in specific that we're going to talk to them about in this agreement is the one thing that we're going to talk to them about is that, let's say the community pushback is and you scrap it, there is a fee to the city to get rid of that. One thing that we really want the council, said it's a 2-year agreement, that knowing that if we get into this, is that we have to go forward for 2 years before we take it out, so we certainly wouldn't want to pay those costs.
So, again, like this was early, back to the work session.
Yeah.
I was asking Chief, okay, we had, I didn't know you were in the room, I apologize. You know, we had.
And I'm from Tennessee, by the way.
Oh, different Tennessee, not Georgia, okay.
Yeah, I'm a Miles guy.
The problem was in Georgia because they have different laws. in Georgia.
Yeah, I worked some in Georgia, they have totally.
We were
different
talking
laws
about,
in
okay.
Tennessee. Yes, sir.
I just can only speak for myself. 2 years is fine, as long as it's within that's defensible, and I can stand on that.
Yeah.
In the school zone with the lights.
Right.
The other stuff is just really hard.
Yeah.
You know, and we need something consistent across this. You know, I was in London, you know, and how much I showed up on Heathrow Airport, how much I showed up on the tube, it's freaking scary. You know, and what we're moving to in the States.
Yeah. Well,
So.
We'll get in and we'll get another draft and see if we can get a consensus. I just think it's important that this is not something that you go in and 3 months later you go, well, we don't want to do that anymore because the cost would be prohibitive.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, you know, I was good for 2 years.
All right.
During the lights.
All right. As long as you're doing it during the lights.
Morning, afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Where's the call, please?
All right, item K, there is no motion required today because the contract's going to be sent back to Blue Line for some amendments and changes. And that takes us to item L, which is added to the new business by Councilman May for City School Property Purchase Request Memo. Councilman May, I'll defer to your.
Yeah, Joe, the agenda that you gave us on forming the group on purchasing land and the need for purchasing.
Yeah, mostly funding issues.
Yes, I would want to motion passed.
All right, that's a proper motion.
Second that.
Proper second by Councilman.
I want to highlight that, if you could, Mr. Mayor, or give it, is that what it says is that the mayor or his designee and the 2 at-large.
Right, I'm talking about the way it's laid out.
Yeah. I'm just making sure everyone's on the same page.
And I like the idea, if they want a consultant, that's their job, we shouldn't be doing education consultants. I like how you put it in, back in the city schools lab and with this committee and representation. I like that a lot.
All right, so a proper motion by Councilman Mays, properly seconded by Councilman Estes for the City School Property Purchase Request Committee, Ad Hoc Committee. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May. Councilman Estes. Vice Mayor Webb. Councilman Moore. Councilwoman McKenzie. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Lastly, we have item 11, announcements. Announcement number 1, city offices will be closed Monday, May the 26th in observance of Memorial Day. As such, the May 26th city council meeting has been canceled. The next city council meeting will be held Monday, June 9th. Public hearing and first reading of the fiscal year 2026 budget will also be Monday, June the 9th. And if there's no further business or comments from the council, we are adjourned.